Hello, everyone. Once again, I say welcome. Welcome to the Advancement Center, wherever you are located. And that's where the Advancement Center is for you. And welcome to the world of magic and miracles. Here in Santa Barbara is an exceptional day. It's still, there's no movement, the sun is bright, and all I feel is anticipation of wonder. Yeah. The hills are covered with ice plants. It's as though a heavenly artist just took a great big paintbrush and painted all the hills a beautiful pink. And each and every one of you is the artist and the appreciator of all that you behold every day. That is why I keep reminding myself that what I perceive wherever I look creates the world that I'm living in. Whoa. That is a charged statement. And it becomes harder and harder to ferret out the good news these days in the media. And that is why I included Simeon's words in my posted invitation on Facebook. This is my outstretched hand to friends I've yet to meet. Hello, and here is the invitation. I chose a portion from Simeon's message yesterday, which is so potent. It was hard to choose, but I finally decided on this one. And here it is. So, what you're seeing in your political world is actually a repetition of what's happening in the galaxy, in the galactic councils. There has been a mammoth decision made towards the freedom of humanity, such that it can be seen that humanity can survive in outer reaches of the universe, in space itself, and most definitely survive as a trading world in the galaxies that surround it. So, the flow you feel is more than what comes to mind. It's a certainty that what you suspected to exist actually exists. And the certainty that develops in technology, in space travel, and in many other fields was actually a gift from other worlds. And that rang a bell with me. And let's see, where was I? Bear with me for a moment. There is so much wonder here that I lost my place. I'll be right with you. Huh. Here we are. So that was the invitation that I put on Facebook. And I reached my hand out to perhaps find a new friend, and I did. Hello, Wendy. Okay, for many years now, I have heard Robert say, that's why this particular portion that I read was so exciting for me, because I've heard Robert say, technology has come to us from off planet. So much so that off planet has become a real location for me. And being married to Robert, I have come to understand and appreciate that words carry more than their current message and usage. The other day, I said something like, I love being able to broadcast the truth. And Robert said, don't say speaking the truth. Rather say speaking what I know. Truth has almost become an opinion of the speaker. And that gave me pause. I'm not here to give you my opinions. I'm here to share with you what I know. And knowing is authentic. And you know where it's present? In our children, who have not yet been made to lose their authority with report cards grading self-control. Do they still have those report cards your parents had to sign? Well, I'm here to remind you of your knowing that you brought with you to earth. Some remember more vividly than others. Clearing away is so important. Our knowing is based on our experience. Otherwise, it's just conjecture. And I had an experience this week that is worthy of telling you. Happened on Tuesday. And after Genya's wonderful broadcast, she was in the and got an inspiration. And we have a counter, a wooden counter, not very wide, but it separates the kitchen from our dining room. And she removed everything and she polished it till it was just gleaming. And that was all that was necessary for the next several hours, because one thing led to the next. And for those of you who have been in our kitchen, it has been the library of a whole collection of boxes of GANs. And GANs is gas? I can't remember. But it's a beautiful, wonderful chemical reaction that happens. And it's wonderful, and it's health-giving, and it takes up a lot of space. And all of a sudden, Robert walked in and said, yeah, we don't need those boxes anymore. You can get rid of them. It was magical. You mean we could just gain all that real estate on the counter? And he said, sure, go ahead. So that was wonderful. And Kenya she was great. She said, oh, I'll take them. I'll take them, get rid of them for you. So that made it easy. So I had clear sailing. And I've never enjoyed cleaning a kitchen more, because I reclaimed a beautiful, serviceable counter with very little on it. I felt like I'd into a new house. And I was very proud and very happy. And when Robert came in later, I introduced him to that new clear space that we had provided. And he had a few things. He said, well, you don't need that. You don't need that. Okay. So I removed them, and it just got a little better. And the next day at dinner, Robert was sitting there saying, you don't really need those pictures in the corner either. Those pictures have been there since October, 2 years ago? 2019? I mean, people have their wedding pictures up for years. Well, this was a wedding that was held here at the Advancement Center. And he said, you don't need that to remind you of the wedding that was held here that was so beautiful. And I said, where should I put them? I put them in the guest room. Guests can enjoy them. So we emptied a corner that had been there forever. It could have been made of brick. And that was it. I sailed from there, and there was so many realizations that came from there. Mementos, holding things on my telephone, holding things on my computer. Oh, I may need that someday. You don't need any of that. Because how are you going to get into the future if you've got all that energy locked in the past? So be in the present. And that was huge. So thank you for indulging me. It's like, every time I walk in there, I can't believe the clarity, the space, and the joy of a new area to use and to appreciate. We have to keep clearing away. It is so healthy. Now, speaking of things that we've learned, I found a treasure, believe it or not, in Facebook, which is that is the purpose of Facebook, to make friends and discover wonderful things that your friends are offering. And this friend offered this, and I enjoyed it, and I'm going to share it with you. And it's appropriate for everyone. And then at the end, I'll tell you who wrote it. Okay. When I was 15, I spent a month working on an archaeological dig. I was talking to one of the archaeologists one day during our lunch break, and he asked those kinds of getting to know you questions you ask young people. Do you play sports? What's your favorite subject? And I told him, no, I don't play any sports. I do theater. I'm in choir. I play the violin and piano. I used to take art classes. And he went, wow, that's amazing. And I said, oh no, but I'm not good at any of them. And he said something then that I will never forget, which is why I'm reading this to you, and which absolutely blew my mind because no one had ever said anything like it to me before. I don't think being good at things is the point of doing them. I think you've got all these wonderful experiences with different skills, and that all teaches you things and makes you an interesting person, no matter how well you do them. And that honestly changed my life because I went from a failure someone who hadn't been talented enough at anything to excel, to someone who did things because I enjoyed them. I had been raised in such an achievement-oriented environment, so inundated with the myth of talent, that I thought it was only worth doing things if you could win at them. And the author of that is Kurt Vonnegut, the author who went on to be an extremely popular author. So much so that it's still on Facebook, and all of my friends saying, well, maybe I'll take up the guitar again. It wasn't any good, but I loved it. So doing what you love is so essential, because that gives birth to other loves that you may never have seen before. Yeah. This has certainly been an amazing week. These weeks are so full, I had to jot down so many things, but I don't need any words to remind me. Tuesday, Genya's broadcast thrilled us when her spirit took over, and her broadcast held us all enthralled. It was wonderful. It was really so wonderful. And then, it went right into the kitchen. Now, on Wednesday, Robert spoke and gifted us some portable gems to live by. And the one that everyone remembers and should and bears repeating is this one. It's lift your vision the slightest amount, and you will see a whole new world. Try it. And remember to do that at least once a day. It was very, very well received, because people are referring to that on later phone calls. And Wednesday was also special because I got to be the controller at the other computer during the broadcast. And this was new for me because I've always sat on the sidelines watching the experts, the technicians doing it. And it just seemed like trigonometry to me, but it isn't. And I was shown, and I got it. So much for a mind thinking about what you can and what you can't do. So it occurred to me that we are all controllers of our transmission, and we are transmitting all the time. And all those transmissions wrapped together affects the world. So you see, the Advancement Center is just a starter for all of you, and hopefully inspiring you, because that's the aim, to make this world the home we came from and that we can enjoy here. Now on Friday, David absolved us of anything and everything less than who we are in order to celebrate. And his song had us dancing in our seats. And that levity and that joy and that upliftment carries us so far, and it's wonderful. Yeah. And then I brought you all the way through the week, and then yesterday was Saturday. And my experience with Simeon progressed as I sat here and listened, as Robert brought in Simeon. And I had the realization that I go from total immersion into the flow that he brought, the flow of trust and safety, to more and more understanding of humanity is being enhanced and rescued and becoming strong and magnificent once again. And as I mentioned last week, I'm drawn to our unbelievably vast library of wonder that I enjoy sharing with you. And in that state of having just heard Simeon bring in the flow, I came across this. Let the energies flow and see what happens. There is another function that is opening to everyone, but right now it demands the flow of the energies to solidify its position in the physical world. All that we say will be clear as each person opens to the new dimension of freedom and experiences the increased depth of their own humanity. The function that we refer to is one of continuous connection to your origin and the overshadowing of all signatures that have laid claim to the ownership and control of humanity. Once this function is accepted in the physical world, the individual signature of every human will be recognized throughout the universe, and appropriate authority will be delegated to each and every person. And I had to continue because then it says, this may sound a little obscure to some, but it is essential for the ongoing advancement and development of the human species. With advanced intellect and understanding, each person needs personal authority, which is totally in tune with their nature and in harmony with everything in the universe. For this reason, it is imperative that the flow is maintained and the work of the advanced energies of the universe continues in its random but highly productive manner. To this end, we encourage everyone to relax and let it fly without any need for control or discipline from your physical being. We are about to energize Earth with an imminent field and take our position of authority as determined from our origin before we entered Earth's field. Yes. And on that note, I thank you for being here today, and I wish you a perfect life, perfect health, and an unbelievably magic future. Thank you.